lead singer named Justin Moore.
We don't do a whole lot of bullshitting up here. We just get up here and play country music.
The Justin Moore podcast is sponsored by Bobcat. Visit them at bobcat.com.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Justin Moore podcast. This week is season 4, episode 12, coming at you. I'm in Gulf Shores, Alabama. JM's in Central Arkansas. I'm JR the handler. That's Justin Cole Moore. We've got one of our favorite buddies to ever run with, one of the coolest guys in the business, coming on the podcast with us today. I'm pumped. How about you, JM?
Yeah, man. We got Tracy Lawrence coming back on, making his second appearance with us here. And as you guys know, or most of you do, we love TL and had an opportunity to go out and tour with him. Was that 2 years ago now? Is that right?
Yep. And then some we made updates last year.
Last year, okay, made some up. And, me growing up in Arkansas, you didn't have to grow up in Arkansas like Tracy or myself to be a Tracy Lawrence fan. He had, so many great records.
Yeah.
And but I think it was magnified, I guess, is my point. Growing up here and so to become friends with him and his crew, it's been a lot of fun, man. So it'd be good to catch up with him. We don't even know what he's got going.
Oh, dude, you know him. He's got a bunch of stuff.
There's no telling.
Yeah, he's got his third volume of his Hindsight 2020 album out. Came out a couple of months ago. He's been out on the road with Clay.
That was the 30-year anniversary deal?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yep. And he's out there shaking it. The king of country swag. Let's get him on. Let's go ahead and just dial him on.
I was talking to Kate about last night. She was asking what I was doing today, and I said, "Well, we got TL coming on the podcast." She's like, "Oh goodness," because like the first time he came on was one of her favorite ones we've ever done.
Oh yeah, there he is.
What's up,
there
buddy?
He is, the king of country swag himself, Tracy by God Lawrence. How about you, brother?
Hey, did you get my text? Oh, I missed your call or a couple calls, and I was wiping my son's butt. I was just texting you. Hey, do you need me? Or?
No, I was waiting on the code to call in because Lindsay had been trying to get everything done. I'm like, are y'all just out of pocket today? And I was just making sure you were still there.
Oh, yeah. No, I was wiping a butt, man. So
I've been known to have to do that a time or two myself.
You've been there, done that.
Yeah, good to see you fellas, man. It's been a while.
I know.
Yes, sir.
What's happening?
Last time we had you on, Tracy, you were in the truck during the pandemic. Y'all were getting ready for your Olympics out at your farm and all that fun stuff. And I think you were at Dollar General or somewhere.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah,
you on.
I think I was sitting in the parking lot somewhere. I think it may have been at the Kroger or something. I was in some parking lot sitting somewhere because I know you're not supposed to drive and do a video, a Zoom link at the same time because people frown on that. I don't understand why. It's like I can look at the camera and drive at the same time, but that's neither here nor there. Things have been good, man. We've been working our tail off. How about y'all? I've been busy.
We're fixing to get there, man. We I don't know. We've probably done JR 7-8 shows since the year started.
10 shows already.
Maybe 8 or 10, and
I had 12 in March.
Golly.
Yeah, tell me about it. I think I did 17 shows in 5.5 weeks, something like that. It's freaking insane. But then I've had the last couple of weeks off, and we've just been kind of playing catch up a little bit. I've been kind of run down. I got this weekend off, so I just ordered 2 40-pound sacks of crawfish that'll be in Friday night. So I'm going to do some crawfish at the house and see if it's too cold to get in the swimming pool this weekend.
That sounds good. Yeah, that sounds real good. We which obviously we were out with each other some last year on some makeup dates, but we did. I don't think we really got cranked up last year till, what would you say, May, June?
Something like that.
JR. And then, man, we did as many from that point to December, so 6 months effectively, that we normally do in like 9 or 10 months. And we like to killed ourselves. I mean, I don't know. I think we did 80, 90 shows in 6 months. And there's my son, if you hear him. And so I said, man, let's kind of ease into this year because we were just, we were doing all these makeup shows from COVID, and, at least for me, all this stuff coming across, when you're sitting here and the outlook is poor and you don't know if you're ever going to get to go play again, or if you do, how long is it going to be before that takes place? I'm talking a couple years ago. I just said yes to everything. I'm like, yep. And then it kind of took until that point last year to actually have to go do it. And I'm going, good night, man.
I've put myself in that situation before, and I've learned over the years that I physically, my voice don't hold up for that much, man.
Right.
About 3 shows is about my limit, and I need a couple of days. I do get stuck doing those 4-day runs periodically, but they're really hard on me. I've lived a little bit hard, but I here over 30 years, and I've, drank too much whiskey and, stayed up late way too many nights and all that other stuff, So I've had to learn to kind of say no to a lot of things as I've gotten older and somewhat wiser.
That's funny you say that, because we've kind of over the last year it didn't, but from this point moving forward, we've made it a point. I'm like, I don't want to do 4 shows in a row. Like, can I? Yeah, I can, but it's not a lot of fun. And the people who get me on that 4th night are not getting as good a show, at least vocally, So I totally understand that.
Man, I remember the days, when I was in my late teens and early 20s, man, I could do 5 nights in a row, sometimes 6, and do those 4 and 5 set nights, But I think something about getting that little break in between those sets helped a lot too. You're just singing 45 minutes at a time, so kind of got to stagger things in. And as you get to where we're at and you're doing those 90 to 2 hour shows, man, that's a struggle. Now I understand why when you see those rock acts do it, they build those 15-minute guitar solos in and all that other stuff. It kind of gives you that little pause to go back and just take a breath. And we're not where Randy is, I go out with Randy and he's got that auction outside the stage. I ain't had to go start doing that yet, but it's probably around the corner.
I don't know how some of those rock acts, like, who was I listening to the other day? It was like it was AC/DC or somebody like that. And I'm like, man, I don't know how they do that 2 nights in a row, much less, 3, 4.
And stuff.
Yeah.
And Brad Arnold's a friend of mine from Three Doors, man. The rock world tour is different than we do, man. They'll go out for a year at a time and do, 4 or 5 nights in a row. Or, I don't, if I stayed out on the road that long, I don't know how anybody has a relationship like that. I don't know how that's even possible, man, because you literally go into another mind frame and step into another world. The balance of coming back and forth, I'm about a 2 to 3 day weekend guy, and then I'm back home 4 days a week, man. I have to have that balance, because I don't think it would be good for anything positive in my life.
Yeah, and not only that, but the vocal. I'm like, God, I would never even be able to speak again, much less sing. I know. But yeah, you make a good point. It's challenging enough as it is for me, at least. And I haven't done it. I've done it about half as long as you, but a good while. But it's challenging enough as it is to go from, playing the star or whatever you want to call it to dad, husband, clean the garage, but
garbage
it's got to be
outer.
It's got to be much easier than it is to, like you said, those guys will go out for months at a time or even a year. I don't even understand how that is possible.
I don't either. I like the way we tour a lot better, man. Go out and be weekend warriors, man. I like that balance, because, I come home and Monday's usually my day that I take the trash to the dump. I do honeydews around the house. I go to the grocery store. I have that one day that I do all the normal stuff that most people do at the end of their week. I do all my stuff on Monday, because that's kind of the beginning of my weekend. I get those first couple of days to kind of get my world back in order.
Yeah. Check your mail, all that fun stuff. Yeah.
So that being said, so do you other than that day, do you prefer to like stay around the house? Because my wife gets mad at me because she wants to go and do, and I'm not even talking about going out and stuff. I'm just talking about like go and run around all day, run errands. So like for me, I'm kind of like you. A Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is almost like our weekend, and I'm a homebody. I like to hang around the house.
Well, let me tell you
lot.
this. So I had this past weekend off. So Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, it was Saturday, Sunday. She worked me like a dog, son. I've never been so worried. Everything on me hurt. So we got in, and I had some old garden boxes that I had to tear down. I couldn't get the tractor into the area where I broke the side walls of the boxes down, so I had to shovel like 6 big garden boxes out. So that killed me. I mean, it's like I really want to go back on the road so I can get some sleep.
Yes.
The dogs start jumping up down on your head at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. All that normal stuff. It's like, oh, I got to get up and let the dogs out. So it's just part of life. It's just what everybody else deals with. But yeah, I prefer to stay around the house. I mean, at least a day, just to kind of get my bearings down, especially during football season. When football season, I mean, I don't really want to leave the house to do anything on Sundays.
Yeah.
And I'm like you, Tracy.
Sure.
Those days when you get at home, especially for me, having to run and go do stuff during the pandemic or when it eased up, doing stuff on like after 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a regular day of the week is brutal. I've been doing it 20 years. I love my schedule. I can go on Monday or Tuesday, or mid morning. Nobody, it ain't packed yet. The roads ain't packed. I don't have to go when everybody else has to go. And even the grocery store at 10:30 on a Monday, I can ease through the grocery store pretty fast. If I wait till 5 on Thursday, it's brutal.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, you get caught up on that kind of stuff is that home day. And talking about being on the road, you guys could go do all that stuff, but it'd take some help. Y'all'd have to booze it up real hard, then get some pharmaceutical help to get up and all that. That just, like you said, Tracy, that ain't good for no long-term solution there. You know
it's
what
not,
I mean?
Yeah.
As you get older, you kind of refrain from a lot of that stuff as much as you can.
We would have to be heavily medicated.
You're right. I mean, you could, but by the time you finally did go lay down at home for a couple of days, it'd be brutal.
Then she's going to be mad at me because I get trying to recover for 2 days after I've been out on the road. So I try not to do that as bad as I used to. I try to come home and at least be coherent enough where I can get up and go to church when I get in Sunday mornings and do the normal things. It makes Mama happy and keeps her off my backside a little bit.
Yep.
She did let me go to the Masters this year, and she wasn't able to go, but I got to go to the Masters, the Monday and Tuesday practice round, which was phenomenal. You ever had a chance to go down there?
No. Is that your first time?
No, it's my 3rd time. I've never been to the actual tournament, but I got to go. I've been to the practice round like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I've been for 2 days at a time, 3 or 4 times over the last several years, and it's just as phenomenal as it's ever been. I mean, it was.
I was going to say,
great.
is it just as amazing in person as everybody says it is?
More so, it is. It's
wow.
It's the most well manicured place that I've ever seen. They pay attention to every little detail. The grass is literally like a carpet. I didn't get to see it, but I was talking to some folks that had been there early in the morning. They say, we played a lot of golf courses, a lot of really nice golf courses over the years. And usually, those really high dollar mowers that they have, those finish mowers that they cut the fairways and stuff with on a good golf course. Usually they have 2 or 3 of them or whatever. And the guys pretty much spend, all day. They move around, they're mowing that stuff constantly. When they go out and mow fairway at Augusta, they bring a whole fleet of them out, and they're in the form of a dang a flock of geese that's flying with one in the front, and they line up and they mow one direction. They go all the way down and they do it at one time, and then they move to the next area.
Wow.
They say it's the most unbelievable thing you've ever seen. Like $1 million worth of lawnmowers out there at one time going down the fairway like a flock of geese. Isn't that cool?
Wow.
That is cool. I would never even that would never even cross my mind that they would do
so
it
there
that
are
way,
no
but it makes sense.
It does. There are no gas golf carts there. Everything's electric. And to limit the number of golf carts that are on the course, I guess the members several years ago started complaining about seeing the golf carts carrying kegs of beer to the concession stands. So they bought a property across the road, and they trenched through every concession stand, and they built an ice house where they keep all the kegs, and they pipe all the beer in. You'll never see them carrying a keg to any of those concession stands.
God.
They pipe every bit of it in.
Like underground?
Where it all stays cold. Like, I don't know, they told me how many feet they bury it down where the beer stays cold the whole trip, and everything is piped through every concession stand.
Holy cow.
Yeah, man.
God. If they tell you that, what are they not telling you that's there? I mean, what kind of secret bunkers and tunnels and stuff's there?
I got to go with some friends on a corporate thing, and there's a special area that I'd never been to called the Brickman, I believe, and it is a private area that has 5 restaurants. It has its own merchandise with its own logo on it. And when it's like $10,000 a ticket to get into this place. It's off the one end of the golf course. All the food, when you get in, the food is comped, the booze are comped, everything. You have breakfast, lunch, and dinner there. The logos are special just for the Bretman inside the golf course. And they have putting greens, so you can go in. They have like a replica of, I think it was 12, 13, 14, 8-man corner.
Eight-man corner,
They have two of them. And so you register and you can get on there with your group, but there's 2 or 3 or 4 of you, and they'll put a caddy with you. And so you get to putt the exact layout of the greens that are on the course. And you get to go through those progressions of those 3 holes. None of my group made it. You don't know how extreme those things are. And they'll say, this is where Tiger was when he made this putt and such. And this is the shot that's such a, and it's you don't know how much movement there is on those greens. It's insane.
The undulation and everything. Yeah.
It's just crazy. Absolutely.
So
crazy.
that's a separate deal, but on the property at Augusta.
It's on the property. You have to go through a whole other set of security to get in. I'd never been there before the other times that I've been. It was pretty freaking amazing.
It's like the secrets at Disney World or whatever, and the underground tunnels and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Disney's got lots of secrets going on.
yeah, you think?
Yeah, I go down way too many rabbit holes.
So have you ever been able to play Augusta for an event or anything?
I have not. I played the country club right next to it a couple of times, but I've never got to play that.
And I've heard that's a great course.
It is. It's phenomenal. I've got a couple of friends that have the leverage to get. Money can't buy you your way as a member on that course. I mean, you've got to be invited. So it's pretty difficult. But I do have a couple of friends that are members there that assure me that at some point we're going to get a chance to play it.
That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. Yeah, that's a bucket list deal for sure. Especially if you love golf. And in particular, play golf. But
Tracy, you ought to just come up with a song that's got something about playing golf in it, and do a music video, because you always get to live out all your dreams in your music videos. You've been a race car driver, a cowboy.
Could I time travel to 16 and watch him chip across the pond? Wouldn't that be great?
You're the guy down on his luck. You're a caddy or something, and your guy makes it, and everything. You get the girl at the end, the whole thing.
I bet there ain't enough money to talk them into letting you shoot a video out of the course. I'm telling you, I bet there is no way. There ain't no way they wouldn't let you do that, man. They're so strict out there.
Have you ever played the Alotian in Little Rock?
I think I played it once. I have. I played it one time, but it's been several years ago.
I mean, it's obviously it's a little different level than Augusta, but it's one of the top courses in the country every year, and it's the same deal as I'm sure know. Like, it doesn't matter how much money you have, who you are, you have to be basically sent a letter inviting you to join. And from what I hear, there's no set fee. It's just like everybody pays something different. And if you're caught discussing what you paid as opposed to me or vice versa, then you're out. They give you your money back, send you packing.
Wow.
I've heard some ridiculous stories like that. It's just crazy stuff. But I've played it a couple of times. It's an amazing golf course. But this is one of those places, man. And if you played it, but just for JR's sake, you're not familiar with it. So you go to the range. First of all, you show up and they have, as a guest, and they have your name engraved on a locker, not written, engraved. And they're like, I'm only going to be here for like 4 hours.
Then I haven't played it because I didn't get my name engraved in nothing.
Yeah. Okay. So this place is ridiculous. This was Stevens group started this course. I don't remember if it was Jack or who, but anyway, Warren I think actually did. But which you may know some of that family. I don't personally, but
I don't.
Anyway, for those out there, big investment firm, one of the biggest in the world, and they're from right here in Arkansas. But anyhow, so you go to the range. They take you down to this range, and there's probably a 5,000-6,000 square foot like building, nice, building. And I'm like, what is that for? That's like, they go, that's for your pre-round massage. And I'm like, huh?
Yeah,
And they were
come
like,
on.
yeah, they're like, and I was like, I'm okay. I don't know if I'd play very well if I had a massage before I played, but
Get it all worked
but
out.
yeah, but then they go, do you want Bridgestone at the range? You want Pro V1s? You want Bridgestone? You want Cal? Whatever. It's insanity. So the other story, and I was just like, what in the world? So we're standing on the tee at, I don't know, 2-3 holes in. I'm like, damn, I meant to get something to drink. How we do, TL. I'm like, and somebody goes, oh, you want something? Whoever I was with, the member, goes, I'll text somebody. Text so-and-so. I mean, it ain't 3 minutes, and there's a guy standing there looking like a butler holding it out here. And it was like 2 vodka sodas or whatever. I'm like, where, did you just pop out of the woods or what? And
they have underground tunnels. They pop up.
Yeah, I guess so. So I try to tip the guy. He goes, no, sir. And I go, yeah, man, take. He goes, and finally it's relayed to me that they can't accept it. It's just one of these over the top ridiculous. I'm sure they modeled themselves after an Augusta or something like that. But it's wild because you don't realize you're in Little Rock. It's totally. We'll have to try to hook it up when you're in town.
Have you had a chance to play Shadow Creek yet out in Vegas?
No, but I think you were telling me about it.
I played it once, and I think the price has gone up quite a bit. But it's one of those places. I think they only allow 20. I don't know. It's only 20-something foursomes a day.
Wow.
Because when you get on that course, I mean, Steve Wynn took a flat piece of desert and he built rivers that run through it. He built hills and creeks and valleys and movement, tree lines. You literally, it is so obstructed that you never see anybody on a fairway next to you. At least I didn't when I played it. You have a caddy that's with you. If you need anything, they are on it. They will bring it just like that. You need a drink and you need something on the golf course. But it is the most tranquil, peaceful thing. You have to stay at a Wynn property. I think it's Mandalay Bay, MGM, a W, or one of those things. And you're not allowed to take a cab there. You have to take a special limousine through those gates just to get into that place.
Wow.
Michael Jordan's got his name on the plaque in the locker room. I mean, it's that level kind of stuff.
Wow.
It's crazy.
There's some great golf courses out there. And
there really are.
On the road, man, you mentioned it. We've had a chance to play some really good courses. We've also played some cow pastures, but
boy, have we!
but that's one of the perks. You can get a chance to get to see some really cool courses and stuff. So, so are you still out? You and Clay still out doing some shows together right now, or?
Yeah, speaking of massages.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
We've got 3 coming up at the end of May. El Dorado, Arkansas, and a couple of other things. And then I think we have a couple more weekends in the fall. But we're talking about going out the entire year of 2023. And it looks like we've already got 40, 50 shows, confirmations on that. So we're going to have a full year. We're going to go out and do the full run.
That's awesome, man.
Several in the spring, amphitheaters. I mean, he and I, it's been really cool. We merged our bands. I brought 3 of my guys. He brought 3 of his, and he actually hired a steel player. Most production guys are mine. So we kind of merged our organizations. We're actually going out. We'll start out with about 4 songs where we share the stage together. We sing with each other, and then we'll kind of peel off, and he'll do 3, and then I'll come back and do 3, and we kind of ebb and flow back and forth. And we worked up a real cool tribute to the country artists that we lost through COVID. We do a Kenny Rogers song, a Charlie Pride song, a Joe Diffie song, and a Charlie Daniels song, kind of a medley thing. And that really does well. I mean, we have done 2.5, 1 3-hour show. We just got kind of carried away with it, where the crowd was phenomenal. Those shows, they're great because we get to come off and on the stage. We're not carrying the load by ourselves. We have been doing some really phenomenal shows. It's been a whole lot of fun.
That's a really unique idea, man. That's cool. So you just kind of back and forth a little bit, and then obviously some together.
Yeah, and then we finish up the night with that big tribute, and then he ends with his 2 big ones, and I end with Time in Birmingham, and then we come back and do usually 1 song for the encore, and then we're out.
That's awesome, man.
We're doing lengthy shows. The first run we did 4 shows last year, And we were doing 90 minutes. I told class that we really need to do a longer show, buddy. If we're headlining like this, we need to do
Between y'all two, yeah.
we need to do a minimum of 2 hours. And once we got over that 2-hour hump, it just started getting to the point that's like, man, we can do. I mean, on average, they're running about 220, and which is a good show for folks to come out when you're still having an open act too. I think they're working well. Bird's actually opening up these next 3 for us, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh wow,
man.
Yeah.
Heck
That's awesome.
From a fan point, yeah, that'd be phenomenal to go get.
So where y'all at in El Dorado? Is it that new amphitheater thing?
I think it is the new amphitheater there. Yeah.
Well, you have to let us know when that is. We'll have to. I'm gonna try to come down if I'm home and not on the road.
I know.
It's on a Thursday. It's on a Thursday. If I can, let me see if I can get to it and without losing everything that I got going on here.
Here, I can pull it up on my computer here, Tracy. If you want to do
got
that.
it.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I know. I talked to Opie
Yep, it's the 26th of May. It's at the MAD Amphitheater in El Dorado.
Yeah, I think that's that newer amphitheater down there, which is super nice.
I haven't been to it yet, but they say it's really awesome.
Yeah, I think we're off.
We are off.
I'm
that
just
night.
looking
We
at
got
my
something
schedule.
the next night.
Yeah, we're in Augusta, ironically, the next night. But
yeah, and that was the one I
we
was
may
going to
have
ask
to come
you about.
pop down to that.
Come on down, absolutely.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, you can make that run and then just leave from there, head over to Augusta. Yeah, that's one I called to ask Opie about the other day. There's the venue there. I saw y'all had just played it, and they offered us to come play it in Augusta. A good place, though. He said it was fun.
Yeah, it was, and it was a packed house, too. We had a real good turnout there. A lot of country music fans there.
That's what
Opie
he was saying.
Opie just texted me the other day. I meant to hit him back. I haven't yet, but and I don't know if this already happened or it didn't, but he'll know because he knows sports more than I do. But
especially when it comes to Arkansas.
Yeah, well,
ate up with it, boy.
He texted me
too, Tracy, as you know.
He texted me the district tournament bracket for softball. I think it was district or regional or something, high school. And he's like, it was it looked like Foreman and Poen may be playing like the next game against each other, assuming we both won or whatever. So I'll have to. He would know if it's happened or it's going to happen. I haven't really kept up, but
yeah, you know how they are.
How's the Hogs baseball team looking this year?
They're leading the West. They're not. I don't think they're as dominant as they were last year, but they lost Kevin Copps, which was just a once in a generation kind of player, pitcher, but they've lost 2 series, SEC series, but they were both on the road. They got beat this weekend at A&M, which stinks, but but they're still leading the West, and they're ranked top 5, top 6, something like that, and they should. I would be shocked if they don't win the West, and they'll host for a regional and a super regional, I'm sure. But I don't know, man. I don't know if they got the firepower to go all the way or not. They haven't really put it all together and played great, in my opinion, yet. They've played good ball, but they haven't, not like number 1 all year like last year kind of ball.
Yeah.
I tell you what, man, the team to beat right now. I think they've only lost 2 games all year is Tennessee. They are tough, which I
Tennessee's
hate. But
good. So there's a kid now there named Jared Dickey that you need to watch out for. He went to school here where I live, and he dated my younger daughter for a while.
You talking about at Tennessee?
At UT. He's a stud, son. I think he's playing right field, but that boy can hit the crap out of a baseball. He'll make the majors. He's that good.
They
redshirted him last year, but right now he is rocking, man. That kid can
Jared
hit the ball.
Dickey?
Jared Dickey.
Okay,
Jared.
I'll have to check it out.
I wonder how do what?
No, I was just saying, man, they're hitting home runs like crazy right now, so he may be part of that.
He is. He's a big part of it. I wonder how that's going to affect baseball with Texas and Oklahoma coming in. When are they coming in? 2023 or 25?
I thought it was 23, but I could be wrong.
I think it's 23. I think that's when everything happens is next year. And I guess they'll do it at the first of the year, which would be would they start with basketball or will they? I don't know how that's going to actually.
Yeah, I don't know when.
I
don't know if it's the calendar year or if it's by a certain season or. But I don't know, man. I think in basketball, I mean, it's just going to strengthen Well, in all sports, it's just going to strengthen the SEC even more. But, and you know, the way we're recruiting in basketball and the success we've had the last couple of years, man, I wouldn't trade Coach Musselman for anybody in the country. I mean, that includes Calipari and, you know, dude at Kansas. I mean, he's at a whole different level right now.
They made it farther than LSU did, and they look better. You know, they actually came back and played well that last game. They played above their expectations this year, I thought.
Yeah, I did too, man. I you know, if you'd have told me that team was going to be an Elite Eight team, I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, they had some good players, but nothing like what when we were growing up. You know, whether from Sidney Moncrief through, you know, Corliss Williamson and those guys. But this team next year, I mean, we have the number 2 recruiting class. We have 3 McDonald's All-Americans. You know, it's silly at this point. So, but as far as Oklahoma and Texas, I think they're in for a rude awakening in football, man. They're going to come get their heads caved in, I think, more often than they're accustomed to.
I think it was a little bit of a shock to A&M when they stepped into it, too.
Yeah,
I
would agree.
A minute. I mean, it's SEC's. I mean, it's some big old boys down on that line. They hit hard.
Yeah.
Well, Tracy, I was looking through. I was just looking through your tour schedule and some of that stuff earlier. I wanted to get on a little music. I know you got other stuff to get to today, and we sure appreciate you coming on as always, brother. But I know when we talked last time in the truck at Kroger, you were working on getting your new music out for your Hindsight 2020 for the first installment of the 3 albums that were going to come out. Now all 3 are out, correct?
All 3 are out, yep. A little bit delayed on the final installment. The 3rd project is called Angelina, kind of a Cajun shuffle up-tempo thing. I was trying to get vocals finished in September. We were slated to drop that album in November, and my whole bunch caught COVID. All the bus drivers went down, half the band went down. I got it, the whole bunch. So I couldn't. The time I was able to get in and finish vocals on that record, we lost our release slot, so it pushed back to the end of January. But all 3 are out now.
And that was when I remember that because we were going to go on the road together and do a private show up in Illinois together that we'd had booked for a while. And, the week before, so your whole bunch went down. I remember
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because I've got it right here. I always try to show some cool stuff on here. I got the Tracy Lawrence 30 years all-access pass right here, y'all. We were talking about 30 and counting. That's what we're going to call this episode, Tracy. I don't see no signs of you slowing down anytime soon.
I don't plan on it, man. You know, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. That's what they say.
and I know because we've had these conversations on the bus. This is what you were born to do. This is all you want to do, like your heroes.
Man, you know, I look at guys like Haggard and George Jones especially. I looked up to Jones a lot. I got to spend a lot of time with George. I toured. He's the first big act that I toured with when I started out in the early 90s, and spent a lot of personal time with him over the years. Got to know the family and went to dinner and all that kind of stuff. And you know, George, nobody lived harder than George Jones, and George made it to 83, that's my target date.
Right.
If George can do it, I can do it.
Because as hard as you've gone, you know you ain't gone as hard as Jones has for as long as Jones went.
No, I can't touch what George Jones did. There ain't no way.
I'm listening right now to the Cocaine and Rhinestones podcast, which is David Allen Coe's son, Tyler Mayhem Coe, puts together a great podcast on the history of country music. And he basically has a whole season on Jones from birth to the end, 10 episodes, 2 hours each. I'll send you the link. It's
pretty
gold,
amazing,
Tracy.
Man.
He
does a great job.
I mean, it is like Ken Burns' NPR documentary style. It is info and it's legit and referenced.
That's awesome.
And I mean, I even found out his favorite movie was Requiem for a Heavyweight, this Anthony Quinn movie about a boxer from 60s that he cried when he watched and stuff. So I watched it. I cried.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'll get you that stuff. But yeah, that's a good point. I mean, as hard as he lived, and you'll have to listen to it. Him talking about opening the ranch in Texas, spent all this money opening a music venue in Texas, had one show, let everybody in for free, never went back. And then he did the one in Florida and the Tammy years and all her stories and how they were to be taking it. I mean, he does the research too. It's good, buddy. I'll send it to you.
That's
but
awesome.
Yeah.
I love all that stuff, man. I really love learning about all those artists and the stuff they went through. It just seems like we've lost the mystique in this day and age with our careers. Before instant information, a story got a chance to percolate a little bit. You know, there was some truth mixed in. There had to be a sliver of truth in the middle. But the time it got and made its way around the country to all the fans, it kind of got a life of its own. And I think there's a charm to that. It created a mystique and created an aura, because you never knew how much of the story was true. Because, I mean, you heard stuff about Wallen and freaking Willie and all that stuff. But nowadays, a story doesn't get a chance to get its own legs underneath it, man. Everything's just instantly out there. It is what it is.
Man, that's a great. I haven't really thought about that, but that is a great point. I mean, you know, the whole reputation precedes you know, kind of deal. There is no more of that, and like you said, it's instant information. I mean, in 5 seconds after it happens, or somebody posts something or whatever, and instantly people are drawing their own conclusions about the story, whether it be positive towards you or negative, or, you know.
And then who the story come from? It's like, no, I heard it from so and so. Now he tells the truth. Now he knows. He talked to so and so inside. He knows now. I know it's the truth, you know, and that kind of stuff. But this does a good job of getting all the sides of the story. You'll love it. I'll send it to you when we get done.
So it's David Allen Coe's nephew,
son, Tyler.
So I've heard a lot of stuff about David Allen on the road, about him having the bus and driving his own car behind it, and all that kind of stuff. And the bus didn't have nothing but a 5-gallon bucket in it, and all this crazy stuff that I've heard over the years.
Yeah, well, I can know doing shows with Wayne Mills back in the day, us opening for Coe. Yeah, he would have his bus out there, but and Tyler was in the band at this point. He was probably 16, 17. Yeah, we opened for him at Zydeco in Birmingham, Alabama, big club there. And he had a Cadillac Escalade out there, and he sat in the Escalade the whole time while the bus was there. And they brought him a salad and stuff, and he only wanted the temperature at a certain thing, and you couldn't smoke in there. And this back when everybody smoked in the bar, so it was but we met a few times, and then he calls Just every now and then and stuff. So it's just, but that's the aura, you know, like you said, there's that mystique about him. Do we know? How much do we really know? You know? Yeah,
Tracy. So the first song that I had, it was a hit, was Small Town USA, and I'll never forget. I'm sure you have 100 of these, but so we're in Kansas City. I don't remember whatever club or whatever we were playing, and I get this random number on my phone call me, and I didn't answer it. You know, I didn't. If I don't know it, I don't answer it. And I check my voicemail, and it's like, "Hey, this is David Allen Coe. I just wanted to say thank you for, I name check him in the song and want to say thank you." And I'm like, which one of my dumbass friends is this prank calling me? So I call it right back, and I said, "Who the hell is this?" And before he has a chance to say anything, and he goes, "It's DAC." And I knew then, because I go, "Oh my gosh, this is really him." And so I go, "Mr. Coe, man, I'm so sorry. I thought you were one of my buddies playing a trick on me." And so anyway, but yeah, over the years, man, we'll be up on the bus listening to you or Clint Black or Hank Jr. or whatever, way too late, drinking or whatever, rolling down the road. And I'll be like, "I'm going to text Coe, hey, listening to David Allen Coe right now," or whatever. And, man, he will text you back every time. It is wild. So
and he always ends his text with DAC on the end. He makes sure.
Yeah. Every time I'm like, "Yeah, I know," but it's always he signs off DAC. And so anyway, it got to a point. At one point, he wanted me to produce a record on him, and I'm like, "I'm not a producer, man." You don't want that. I promise you.
Wouldn't that be something? Wow.
Yeah, it would. It would have been cool, man. But I'm like, man, I don't want him hating me for making a crap record on him. So, but I mean, I'm sure you got 100 of those stories, but I'll never forget that as long as I live.
Hey,
isn't it cool to be able to have relationships with the guys that you looked up to and people that you admired all of those years, man? I'm
doing it right now.
You're an example of that.
Absolutely.
I still haven't quite wrapped my brain around all that yet, because I'm like the youngest of the whole pack of the guys from the 90s, except for Leanne Rhymes. You know, I was 22 years old and 23 when I got signed, so I was really freaking young. And most of the guys are like 60 in their early 60s and stuff now.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah, man. Ronnie Dunn's quite a bit older. Dippy was like 58, 59. Chestnut's in his early 60s, I believe. Everybody's like 10 years older than me or so.
Well, just think about most of your guys that came out when you did. You're going to be in the same boat.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't really think about that with you, Tracy, but yeah, that makes sense. I'm kind of in the same boat, like JR pointed out. I've done it now. I signed my deal 15 years ago and started, jumped on this ride, but I was young. I was 23. I've done it as long as a lot of guys. Like you take like the Lees and the Randys and those guys are the ones. Jamies, those are the ones I came out around the same time. I was maybe a few songs behind Luke, and but they're all probably 5, 6, 8 years older than me. Even though we started at the same time, so that I haven't really thought about that till you said that, JR, but it's a good point.
Yeah, but you're right though, Tracy. I think about it all the time, and I just try to be cool because I learned early on. Willie's road manager Pooty told me not to be a germ, and then I found out what a germ was, and then I have consistently tried not to be one of those very often.
Isn't that the greatest word, man? Nobody even knows. Well, I guess more people know what a germ is now, but that was such an inside music industry term. When
I don't think they do though. Like
we've talked about it on here a few
times. Inside. I mean, we were talking. I'm sure you made friends with NASCAR guys as we have over the years.
Absolutely.
And they have their own. So we were talking. I think we had Austin Dillon on here, and we were talking to him about it. He's like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah, they have their own lingo.
But he's like, "Oh my gosh, that's exactly like what do they call it? Fence clingers or
something like that."
Something almost like lot lizards or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's got its own term that inside your industry, you know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and all of them have that. Every wrestling, NASCAR, the that, any kind of, whatever profession, I guess, even outside entertainment.
It's fun.
But yeah, so anyway, but I learned early on not to do that, and because of that, I've been so lucky not to be able to sing or play anything, to be able to be around. I mean, like hell, talking to you, Tracy, the king of country swag right here, and getting to hang out with you guys and shoot this. I say this, and I was talking about a little bit before we got on. This is our 1 year anniversary of having Matthew McConaughey on the podcast, and I thought there was nobody cooler that we could have brought on to make up for it this year's to top that than Tracy Lawrence. Because I promise y'all, this is not because Tracy's here. I'll say it anytime. Of all the people we've ever had on this podcast, I promise you, none are cooler than Tracy Lawrence. I'm just putting that out there.
I appreciate that, brother. Well, let me tell you, I did read Greenlight. You talk about a guy that has lived a spectacular life to this point. Yeah. I mean, a very fulfilled. I mean, going off and wrestling people in the freaking jungle and stuff. I mean, the whole thing, just some of the stuff. It's like, if I didn't believe in his integrity and think that I don't find any reason that he would not tell the truth about anything that he's done, because he doesn't strike me as that guy. It's right. Some of it's actually hard to believe, but that book was such a journey. I was very intrigued by it. I just thought it was a very fascinating piece of work. I've never read anything written like that. The whole style was completely different than any book I've ever read.
Yeah, he's man. I tell you what, I didn't really know what to expect. I mean, obviously you and I have experienced fame to a degree. But that's a whole different world,
Oh yeah.
So I don't know that I didn't know really what to expect. But man, to his credit, he could not have been more down to earth and cool. And I don't even know why he said yes to doing this. To be quite honest with you, it was when he put the book out. But
he's a music guy. He's a big.
Or how we even got his contact information in the first place. You know what I mean? And so. Man, he spent 2 hours with us or something. And he said, "Yeah, whatever, boys." He couldn't have been a cooler guy. And he and I actually have texted about Texas and Arkansas and the rivalry and stuff, and just a super nice guy. And that's what you find out. Back to your original point, man, how cool it is to become friends with more so like your heroes, the guys you look up to. Again, you and I. You talked about your relationship with George Jones.
That'd be like us with Charlie Daniels.
That guy with me would probably be Charlie Daniels because he really, and I know you had a really good relationship, close, tight relationship with him as well. I don't know that anybody that knew him didn't have a tight relationship with him. He was that kind of guy, man. I had, right around the time I got to know him, I lost my grandpa, who was everything to me. Son, that's South singing for everybody. So anyway, I told him this. He didn't realize he was doing this. I said, man, you've kind of become like a grandfather figure to me, and I just lost that in my life. And so I just want you to know, I mean, I know that's not what you're trying to do, and maybe you don't even realize how much it means to me, but I just want you to know that. And so it's super sweetheart. I miss
You always
him,
knew
man.
where you stood with Charlie. I missed him a lot.
Yeah.
You always knew where you stood with him. There was never a gray area. He was very blunt, right to the point. And I got a chance to be around him a lot over the years. And he lived right here in Mount Juliet, where I live. And there's such a void here in the community. They built a park and named the park after him. And I got a call from a business owner friend of mine here in town, and they're talking about doing a mural with me and Charlie Daniels and Darryl Worley on the side of one of his buildings down by the railroad track that comes right through the middle of Mount Juliet. So I've got to go meet with him this afternoon and talk about that. So I mean,
That's
just
awesome.
to be in a community where you're appreciated, man. They're big shoes to fill, but I'm trying to step up and be that person here in the area and be more available and more accessible to businesses and the police department, the fire department, the people that I associate with here in the town that I live in, man. It's good to have those relationships and be kind of the face of the community. And I take that real seriously because Charlie was that guy for a long time.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Man,
and his books are good too.
Oh yeah, his books are great. You talk about getting close to people that you idolized growing up, and JR mentioned earlier, this is all you ever wanted to do. For me, it was a little later on in high school when I figured out this is pretty cool and maybe this is something I'd like to pursue. And people come up and spit facts or numbers or whatever at me, periodically, and whether it be hits or albums sold or whatever, the stats are. Seeing as how you did always want to do this, I mean, I know you really well by now, and I know how down to earth and humble you are, but I have this feeling, and I'm assuming it's the same for you. I mean, are there moments, even to this day, 30 plus years in, where you go, wow, that's a lot of hit records, or I can't believe I've sold X amount of albums, or golly, man, I really became friends with this guy. I mean, I don't do it often, but all of a sudden somebody will say something to me periodically and it'll hit me. I go, and I don't really say anything outwardly, but inwardly I'm going, damn, that's pretty crazy. Really.
And in some ways, yes, I don't dwell on the stats and the numbers and all that stuff as much anymore. That to me, that's all marketing stuff that we use. But what I do treasure are the relationships and the people that I met along the way, because, I wonder what my life would have been like if I'd have stayed in the town where I grew up. I'd probably be working at the cement plant or the paper mill, one or two, which are very good jobs. And most of the people that I graduated with and went to school with are working at one of the two, or Cooper Tire. Those are the three big places that you want to get on. And what would my life be like? I mean, what would I be like? I stepped into a world where my view of the world and the people in it changed a lot after breaking away from where I came from. And I've been to the White House. I've met politicians from every level that you can imagine. I've met actors and athletes, and I haven't been all over the world, but I've been to a lot of it. And, being able to broaden your perspective of things makes you view the world through a different lens. And I've tried to raise my children not being closed-minded about that, because I think overall, you can't buy into the news that we see all the time, all the negative doom and gloom and everything. I believe for the most part, people are good everywhere that you go. no matter what God they worship or what kind of food they eat or, what their educational background are. Most people are decent people that are trying to do the same thing we are. And that's provide a good life for our children and give them more than what we have. That's really all anybody wants to do. And I've been very blessed in that regard. And I look at where I came from, and I'm very humbled by it. A whole lot. I really am, because I can't imagine how much different my life would be if I didn't have the courage to take that step and go for what I wanted, because I would have always looked back with regret, and I don't have that.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's, man, well said. That's great perspective. And for those out there, I'm sure everybody listening to this knows, but Tracy grew up kind of like me, and not too, an hour and a half from me,
hours, something like that.
Yeah. And I think about it often. My mom and dad are very kind-hearted, great people, and but not as, and I don't mean this in a derogatory sense, but not as cultured as me, which I think aligns with what you were just saying. Like, but they haven't had the experiences I've had. And,
right.
It's kind of mind-blowing to come from where we come from, and we do have these different experiences, which was kind of the nucleus of my original thought. It's mind-blowing. It really is. Obviously, I'm back here now, but, still get to go out and travel and do all the stuff.
So think about this. This is kind of a strange perspective, and there's nothing wrong with this, but one rule that I have with my wife and children when they travel without me, when we travel together, they're never allowed to stay in a hotel with doors on the outside. It's always doors that are on the inside. That's kind of my personal rule when they travel. Check in the front, go inside where your doors are on the inside. I don't think I ever stayed in a hotel with the doors on the inside until I got a
Right.
Everything was a Motel 6, La Quinta. And I remember when I did my first showcase, I did a showcase at the Lowe's Anatole Hotel in Dallas. And that was back when, in the very beginning, when we could instead of going to all the individual radio stations, I had 4 showcases. I had one in Marina Del Rey, I had one in Marietta, Georgia, I had one in New York, and I had one in Dallas. And all those regionals, you'd bring those program directors and people in, and your label would have 2 or 3 acts on the show, and they'd put everybody up. They'd fly them in, they'd wine and dine them.
So you're talking about a radio showcase, not a showcase to get a record deal for a label.
Radio showcases to launch music. That's how they launched songs. So they brought them to us. And I remember I was in one of the upper floors at the Lowe's Anatole, and I was so overwhelmed. My mom and dad were with me. And I remember standing there looking out over Dallas and going, wow, man, this was so overwhelming to me, because I'd never been in a hotel room that nice, for one, and never been in, it was, and I think back on that, what a simple thing that was at this stage of my life as I've traveled and seen more of the world. But that was such a big deal to me. I remember standing in that room kind of crying a little bit. I was so overwhelmed by it, because it was just such a standard of life that I had never experienced before. I'd never been in a hotel suite before. It was kind of crazy to me. Right. And at this time, that seems like such a simple thing, but it's really not.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've had a ton of those moments over the years where you stop and go, golly, or you get emotional, or whether it be an award or whatever it is, or just a show where the crowd's overwhelmingly
absolutely
in your favor, or singing back to you this song, or that you wrote on a $400 guitar, or whatever. And so that's pretty cool. And it was a moment where you realize, I'm not to put words in your mouth, but you're realizing a dream, a lifelong dream.
And that things were about to change in a significant way that I had dreamed about for so long. All of it was happening. The wheels were in motion, and I could feel things moving underneath my feet. It was a great time in my life, and I was young, and it was the whole world was laid out in front of me. And it was a great time to be alive. The 90s were awesome, man. They really were, man. We had so much fun back then. Before cell phones and
the Wild West, baby.
Oh, baby.
Yeah,
literally, it was so overwhelming. My first bus was a Silver Eagle, and so I remember it was so crazy when we'd pull into these small towns, like we'd be playing a fair or something up in the Midwest. When the buses would roll into town, you'd pull in the hotel parking lot. the girls would start circling the buses in their cars. The bus
Wow.
it was like a spaceship landed in town.
Right.
It
Yeah,
was,
they
it was
hadn't
that
seen
way.
nothing like that.
Yeah, that bus rolling into town, it's like everybody's on the phone. The buses are here. The buses are here.
Right.
I mean, they would literally start circling the buses.
Right.
Wow.
That's that elusiveness thing we were talking about earlier, because they hadn't seen a real artist on a tour bus. They might have heard about it, but there wasn't videos, and
Right.
you didn't know.
Unless you can, you go to the venue and you somehow like sneak a peek backstage through the fence or whatever.
Yeah.
And we were talking, I don't know, a week or two ago, Tracy, about how it really wasn't that long ago. Speaking of tour buses and big tours and that, it really wasn't a long time ago that touring became as big as what it is. You know, it was done in a completely different fashion.
Yeah.
Even in
Without a doubt.
Yeah, until the early
just
mid
a couple,
70s.
2 or 3 decades ago. Yeah.
Yeah, before they started bringing their own sound in and staging and all that. Before that, it was guys in station wagons. Jones and those guys in Hagen, they were in station wagons before they had buses. And they had a house
right
band.
on top of the guitar,
Yeah.
It was all that stuff.
And house bands and house PA, if there was whatever was there. And then I was talking about promoters too. You talking about not being able to see people. They used to pull the whammy on people like that too. Like even Jones in particular, they talked about this when they knew he started no-showing a few times. Certain promoters would say Jones was going to play this place, knowing that he had never had intentions of showing up at all. They'd get the place to fill up, sell them beer for 3 hours, then go say he no-showed, and then we'll give you money back, but they'd already sold beer for 3 hours. Things like that, because no one had TV. There wasn't the internet. There wasn't a website to go make sure he was going to be there. The promoter put a sign up, said George Jones going to be here Saturday. Everybody showed up. He didn't show, but how do you know if he did? That kind of stuff used to happen.
Wow, I've never heard that before, but that makes a lot of sense. People will hustle you now. Yeah, that's a straight up hustle right there.
Also, we were talking.
Go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say, we were talking about too how like that's as far, especially with your own sound and stage equipment and lighting and that kind of stuff. How like probably venues like the Ryman and the Canes and there's a bunch of them we could name became great. Maybe their sound stuff was better. Maybe their rooms were better. Maybe they got how some of these venues became famous or infamous.
Yeah, and you just never know. Maybe they had a huge brawl there one night and
Right.
got all the media attention on them. And I don't know, but it's all changed so much. I couldn't imagine, back in the day when the Grand Ole Opry was at the Ryman, there was no air conditioning in that building.
Yeah.
I've been in that place in the summertime when it's hot as blue blazes outside, and I can't imagine being in that building trying to perform with nothing but those top windows open back there with no air circulating in that building.
Could you imagine in Tennessee, Middle Tennessee?
What about the buses?
In the
what
summer,
about the
in July or
back in the
August?
day? No heat or air on the buses. The heat on those old buses used to be they'd open up a thing from the engine to blow the engine heat on you, and there was no AC.
Lord. Yeah.
Golly.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Ernest Tubbs' old bus? Is it Ernest Tubbs' bus? It's at the Ernest Tubbs Museum over there by Opryland Hotel. It is so small. It's a teeny tiny little thing. The ceiling's real low. I mean, I can't even stand up in the thing. I mean, it is so tiny and boxed off. And you think about it today, my first tour bus, back before we had tracking satellites, I mean, all we had was VHS tapes of music. And I had several big boxes of CDs or cassettes at the time, and then we moved up to CDs. I mean, I had big boxes full of all the CDs, and so we listened to music all the time. That's pretty much what we did. And nowadays we got everything we want right there at the push of a button. We can watch things anywhere we go. So it's all changed a lot. Seemed like there was more camaraderie. We had a great deal of camaraderie because we were all packed in there, sweating it out, doing the same thing.
And everybody didn't have those phones either. Everybody wasn't playing individually on their phones. Like you said, you had somebody had found this VHS tape of Jesco White or some random something that only people saw on the buses. You know what I mean? And it was a thing that you knew about from somebody's bus that had this video of this, and they make you a copy. And even in the early 2000s when I was on the road, I mean, a lot of our buses with Wayne and stuff was old Eagles, and it wasn't all up to date. You had the rabbit ear, basically whatever town you were in, you could pick up some channels, and you had VCR stuff.
I loved all those. We all got into Jesco for a while. I mean, anybody that hasn't experienced that out there in the social media world, Jesco White, you can look that stuff up on YouTube. It's pretty insane. And Hank Jr. in Kansas City. That's another really good one you need to look up too. There's a few. There's a few classics out there without a doubt.
Was that the Garth one?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's that.
This here Derek Thomas. This here Hank Jr.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, that's some more. That's probably. I wonder if even that kind of stuff is inside baseball for people in the industry. It almost feels like it, maybe.
I think it is for a lot of people. Yeah. You never know, though. I mean, all of it's on YouTube. Everything that you can possibly imagine is on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Now, so
that's it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
And hey, speaking of Hank Jr., you saw he's got new music coming out, huh, Tracy?
I didn't.
Yep, Rich White Honky Blues is the name of his new album. And,
only him, right? Only he can get away with that.
God bless him. He's had a rough year, man.
I know, man.
He has.
Yeah, bless him. He's been through a lot, man. Lost his wife and everything. So
that's terrible.
It is terrible. Very terrible.
How are your kids, man? They good?
They're good. My oldest daughter is getting ready to finish up her junior year in college. She had her awards banquet for the dance team on Sunday. So we went up to college and spent the afternoon with her and saw all her roommates and everything. Youngest daughter is starting school in the fall. So she's getting geared up to go. She's working through the summer. So she's got her little summer job doing her thing. She took a gap year off. She graduated last year, but she needed to kind of get herself together. She's a little bit of a late bloomer. So everybody's doing good, ready for the summer.
Yeah. So,
well,
hey, you gave us, I don't know how much time you got, but
I got all the time you need, man. I'm actually going to be at the theater, the Little Rock Music Theater downtown, coming up the middle of May. Just coming up in a couple of weeks. I'll be there. Yeah.
To play a show?
Yeah. Not with
May 20th.
Yep, that's it. Yep, I'm in town. It's a weekend.
I wonder if we're
on the road all next month.
Of course.
We're hitting it back. We got this weekend coming up. As this airs on Thursday, this weekend we do our golf tournament, which we had a blast at yours last year, by the way.
Yeah. Speaking of, I can't be at it this year for some reason, but my manager Pete, who he said tell Tracy, there'll be a ton of my team there. I just won't be able to make it, unfortunately. I think
a lot. We're going to have a good turnout. I think a lot of people are working, a lot of people struggling to get in, but it's going to be a good turnout. I'm hoping that this is going to become the premier golf tournament in Nashville, man. It's going to be a good celebrity event, whatever. Because I think we're propped up to kind of take the lead on that. It was a big event last year.
It was rock and roll last year.
Yeah, you and I need to. So Tracy does his. He does a lot. May. Yeah, he does a lot with Boys and Girls Club, as I do. I'm not sure that this particular tournament is all that, or if it's a part of it at all. This is
more for the homeless and all the stuff that I do here in town.
But we've discussed kind of tag teaming some of these things, maybe back-to-back days or whatever. We need to do a better job, maybe jump on that early. The conversations this year about next year, maybe.
Let's talk I don't know when yours is scheduled to be, but let's talk about that when we get done with the podcast today, because I've got a date for ours down in Louisiana that I'm going to do.
For this fall, for next year?
For the fall. I think it's October that we're doing ours this year. Usually
yeah, for
I'm
sure.
sure you've already got a date for yours.
I don't know that we do.
For next year?
Do you mean the girls? We're talking about Boys and Girls Club stuff. Right. We're probably boring.
You do yours in the fall, don't you?
Yes, we do it in October, typically September, October. And then I got asked, Tracy, I don't know if I'm sure we invited you, and I don't know if you can make it or you can't, but we're doing our second annual St. Jude golf tournament benefit here in Little Rock here in the first weekend of May, the second or
Sunday
third
and Monday
or something
after
like
this
that.
airs, yeah.
But yeah, it's a Monday actually. So anyway, my St. Jude approached me about doing that here in Little Rock because there wasn't anything, and so we did it last year, and we're trying to build that into more celebrities. I mean, we had a couple last year, and I think we may have 4, 5, 6 this year, whatever. So,
Yeah.
as you know, that just takes time to build. But and we're all just going 100 different directions. So to get a bunch of artists or whatever together on the same, you know, and everybody's traveling from different places, it's tough to do.
I've had the same problem with mine. We're going to have a lot of folks. It's easier to do in Nashville where everybody lives, but everybody's doing heavy right now.
Right.
You know, last year, nobody was really working heavy yet. A lot of people still, the big tours hadn't gone out, so everybody was there last year.
Right.
But I don't think Kid Rock's going to be there this year. I mean, we had Dennis Quaid, Kid Rock. We had a whole bunch of folks there. But I think John Daly's going to come back in. John's finishing up the tournament on Sunday, so I think he'll be coming in Monday.
Hey, speaking of, did you see who his son just signed an NIL deal with?
No.
What would you guess of all businesses? What would Daly and his son sign an NIL deal with?
Hooters.
Yes, exactly right.
See, I was just so John still had the Hooters deal. So when I was at the Masters. And you're like me. I've known John a long time. John don't actually go in the golf course. He sets up in the parking lot of Hooters, and they brought a tent in for him, and he sat there and signed autographs all day, every day. And I stopped in Monday night after we left the course, and we stayed with him for about 30 minutes, and he had been signing since, I think he said since like 8:30 that morning. It was like 7:30, 8 o'clock that night. He'd been signing autographs all day.
God,
sitting there at a table,
man.
and he
completely sober.
No.
Medical.
Yeah, but upright. Doing good.
Oh yeah, he can hang.
Just beer though. Yeah, I think he was just nursing beer all day long.
I wonder. I hope his health is good, man. I know he's dealt with the cancer deal, but I forget.
He seems to be doing real good. I think it was bladder cancer or something. I think it was something like that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that's not going to be a long-term issue.
I think he's in remission. I think he said he's doing good. You know, I watched the pro-am that he did with his son. Him and his son won that thing, and all they talked about was Tiger and Charlie. That's all they talked about, you know. And John and his son won the thing. That's kind of frustrating to watch because they, you know, I get it though. That's all they wanted to talk about at the Masters too. And it was, you know, I got to watch Tiger on the driving range, and I could tell that he hit that right ankle. He could barely bend that right foot. Even when he turned on the golf ball, he wasn't able to bend that foot. And I knew that his goal, all he wanted to do was make the cut. I really didn't think he'd make the cut because I watched him on the driving range.
Just watching him hit, yeah.
It's why, I mean, his power was still there, but he wasn't able to push off on that back foot. I mean, he'd still, and you could tell by the time he got Saturday and Sunday especially, by the end of every round, he was limping more and more every day. He was really struggling. There was one time I saw him using his driver as a cane to get up a couple of those hills. So he was, you know, and you know how it is. Even though his golf swing's still intact and he can hit the ball, the pain wears you down. You know, I mean, 4 or 5 days just walking that course
and walking,
because they don't let him ride. He had to walk it. The walking's what hurt him more than swinging the golf club.
Right, yeah, that's a great point.
He don't get the Colt Ford exemption. Get a card anyway.
No, he does not. Yeah.
I'm like, Colt, what's wrong with you? He said, "Oh, my back, man." I'm like, "You ridiculous. Nobody gets a cart but you because you're hurt." Oh, I hear you.
So you know Tracy, you know Colt well. Like we do.
He gets a golf ball more.
Oh my gosh, he makes it look so easy. But anyway, we're on tour. Me and him and Brantley are on tour together, and this was probably 5 years ago, JR, or something
5-6
like
years
that.
ago.
And me and Colt go play golf a bunch at this time. I mean, we're going like every day, and so I think we went to like Chicago Country Club or something. You know how Colt, he knows everybody at every course, and you know they all love him. And well, he tells me on the way, and he knows what type of golf courses I like and why I go play golf. I like playing nice courses, but I want to ride. I don't want to freaking walk. I don't, you know.
Amen.
I mean, I ain't going out there to get healthy. Is my point. So,
just to be completely transparent here, I'm going to have some drinks and hang out with my buddies, hit a little white ball around some.
Well, of course. So we show up, and he goes, "Oh, we pull in." He goes, "Oh, by the way, you got to walk this course, and we're going to play with the Head Pro or whatever." And I'm like, I'm like, and I don't like that either. Like, I mean, I'm okay. I mean, we've played together. I'm okay, but I'm not
Don't
cold.
put that pressure on me.
Yeah, exactly. I want to play with people like me who can shoot an 85 or 105.
And everything's fine. If you hold it up, pick the ball up. But other than that, it's all fun.
Yeah. So anyway, Colt doesn't have this anxiety because he's a pro.
He's a ringer.
So I'm like, can't ride? What do you mean? He goes, yeah. I think he might have even told me they didn't even have carts or something. I'm like, are you kidding me? We rode 45 minutes out here today. Anyway, great golf course. So he sticks me with the pro, and here he comes in a golf cart, Colt. And I'm like, I thought you said we couldn't ride. He goes, well, my back's messed up.
Yeah,
so they let me ride. I'm like, are you kidding? Are you freaking kidding me? Like, which is so him, But yeah, I couldn't ride. And so I tell the pro, I'm like, man, I'd really love to ride. He goes, you really need to walk this course. And I'm like, well, why is he riding around in a cart?
Yeah, do like Rodney Dangerfield, the boss. my arm.
Yeah.
I got to ride too.
So
that's funny. But
totally
anyway,
he's a piece of work, man. Yes, he is. Yeah, I got to sing. I'm trying to remember the song. I got to sing on his new record that came in. I can't remember what the song was. It was really cool.
You played it for me.
I think I did. I need to dig it back out. I guess the album's out. I never heard that they released it or what the situation was. Of course, I don't listen to radio that much anymore, so I don't think Colt works radio at all, does he?
I don't think so, man. I think he tried and tried forever, and that's a whole different subject. It's so weird that they allowed that type of music to become popular, but the guy who, in essence, started it couldn't get arrested on the radio.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but we could talk about that for days.
Yeah. Hey,
yeah.
But anyway, I know we were talking about your 30-year anniversary, Tracy, and you get and counting as we go now with the Hindsight 2020s volumes 1, 2, and 3. And I know at the shows we talked about this last time. Justin always wanted you to sing "Paint the Walls" and figure out a way to con you into that. And as I was listing some records earlier, one that I hadn't thought about in a while that kind of makes sense about you saying about kind of easing back these days was "Sweet 17." What a great tune.
Oh man. I wrote that when I was like 18 years old. That was one of the songs I had with me when I came to town.
Wow. From a perspective of a 30-year-old.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was an old soul, man.
Man, and that's a
a lot of country music.
Right. And I mean, and they your whole catalog's just gold. I mean, like you're saying, if you think about the 90s, I mean, there's nobody arguably any bigger than Tracy and still rocking. And that's what I love. And I'm glad. And I think about that too, because Justin is in that category. We got a lot of stuff left to do. And I know I was looking at your stuff earlier. I mean, you got a lot of rocking going on this year. You're going to do some more shows with Clay. You're going out to do Dirks' thing out in Colorado at Seven Peaks. I saw you got on some Brad Paisley. You gonna go out and tour with Paisley some this year?
9 Paisley shows, plus I'm on 5 or 6 Morgan Wallen Hardy dates with Live Nation, and we just picked up a handful of Aldean shows with direct support right before Aldean out with Live Nation too. So
that's awesome.
We got a lot of big stuff this year, man. We got a lot of marquee events that are going to be really awesome to play.
That's great,
I love
man.
those big shows.
I love the resurgence of. I love the resurgence of the popularity of the 90s stuff. Nowadays it seems everybody's like, oh yeah, this stuff is fantastic. Like,
it really is. And it's young kids are coming out to see it too, man. I'm amazed at the teenagers that are coming to the shows they're singing the words to it. And the songs that I put out just on social media, some of the newer stuff that never got any radio play. It's amazing to see people out there in the crowd singing these songs back to me. It's like, wow. So they're finding their music through Spotify and through YouTube and all these other platforms, which I think is very cool nowadays. It's really there's just so many other ways to reach that fan base out there. And it's like once they find something that they think is cool for an artist, they'll dive through your entire catalog. They'll listen to everything that you got. It's pretty cool.
Well, it's wild, man. I mean, radio now is just another one. It's not the one necessarily. It's just another one, if that makes sense.
It is.
So I think it's generational too. I think the older, maybe 40 and older still listen to radio a lot, maybe, and then that age and younger, I don't know. I'm just guessing there on the numbers, but
so is country going woke? Is country woke now?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Part of it is. I didn't go out to the ACMs. I was kind of that kind of. I was involved. I was on that board for years. I was on the ACM board as the artist rep when we made the decision to move from Los Angeles to Las Vegas years ago, and I was on the after party committee and basically used all my relationships to build that after show at the ACMs and served on that committee for several years. And now it's sad to see where it's at, man. I mean, it wasn't even on a network. It was on Amazon Prime. I don't know anybody that even watched it.
Yeah, I went on a rant you can find on here about it and about that, the lack of ratings, the fact that it's off of network TV, and why I believe it is, failing, to be honest with you,
absolutely,
right now. And in a, long story short, I think it's because, when I was growing up, and when you were growing up, to me, there was a couple nights a year that were just absolutely huge for us and as country music fans, and that was the CMAs and the ACMs. And yes, I wanted to see the superstars, the George Straits and the Kenny and Dolly and but I also wanted to see, Tracy Lawrence when he had his first big hit, singing that, and Clint Black and Alan Jackson. And nowadays, and then I also wanted to see not only the high level A acts, but the B acts and the C. Like, I want it to be all guys that I hear on the radio or I'm a fan
from
of
within our industry.
They put none of
and the presenters all be Opry members and stuff.
And they didn't even give the award on air for top new male vocalist of the year and top new female vocalist of the year. Lainey won new female vocalist. They didn't even give the award on air. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Crazy.
It's absolutely crazy. They're too busy putting people from other formats on there, and I think people have had enough. I think people are turning away. I think
you're right.
It. Some of the positive stuff of Elon Musk buying Twitter this week is going to have a huge effect on all that. That's going to shut a lot of this mess down. I believe everybody's voices ought to be heard, man. And I can stand to listen to a reasonable debate from somebody that doesn't see the world through the same lens I do. But losing your mind just because things don't go exactly your way, I've had enough of all that mess. I mean, people need to be able to sit down and have reasonable conversations. I still have a lot of friends on the other side of the aisle that I have a great deal of respect for. Sometimes I don't understand really what they're seeing that I don't see, but they still have the right to their opinion in this country, and we should still be able to go have dinner and break bread together, even if we disagree. And we shouldn't be that closed-minded. And I think it's time for the world to stop having knee-jerk reactions to everything everybody says just because you don't agree with it. It's time for us to get back to an even playing field where people can communicate on a different level. It's breaking our society down.
Yeah, that's well said. Well said.
I mean, it's like you can't and everybody takes stuff so serious, so quick to jump on stuff. My brother and I were talking, there's not even any good comedy movies out anymore because no one wants to offend anyone, so there's nothing even funny to watch. I mean, we watched Blazing Saddles because it was just on as we were flipping through. It was like, it don't have to be this, but it could be just something. Let's make fun of each other. It's funny.
I went and saw midget wrestling the other night. Is that wrong? I don't think so.
Right. It was awesome. Yeah. I mean,
that's what I call sex with my wife. You told us a great Jones story last time you were on. I wonder if you had another one before you get out of here.
You told us the one about take a barrel,
cod shot or whatever.
So
you got any other good ones? It doesn't have to be Jones. It can be.
I got a couple of good Jones stories. And I wasn't here. This is like secondhand information, but my original piano player when I started out in the early 90s, Flip Anderson, his first road gig when he was 19 years old was playing with George Jones. And Flip was 10 years old. I was 23. Flip was in his mid-30s when he started working for me, so he'd been in the business a while. And he said he was there during the no-show days when Jones was pissing everybody off. And a lot of the promoters had gotten used to it. So this one promoter in particular, he was at one of those theaters where, they had, a little stage, and then they had a door on one side of the stage and a door on the other side of the stage. So the bus was parked on one side, and the promoter told Jones, he said, I ain't going to pay you till you walk on stage. He said, I'll have you money there, or check, whatever it was, sack money or whatever. He said, I'll pay you when you walk on stage. So the band gets to vamping. George walks in the threshold of the door, and he has his bus driver drive around to the other side. The band's up there vamping and everything. George walks in, takes the money, walks across the stage, waves at everybody, goes right out the door into the bus, and they pull out the parking lot. Flip said that crowd lost their mind, said they threw stuff down. They had to get the cops to help get them out of town. They thought they were going to kill them.
Man.
You could not get away with that in this day and age, man. There's no freaking way.
Well, he was getting them back for them times they set him up with the no-show shows that he wasn't responsible for.
Well, he was there.
Yeah.
The band was there. They took the song off. I can't imagine doing that. He just didn't want to play. I can't imagine. I can't imagine that mentality. I've never viewed it that way, man. There's times that I go out there when I probably shouldn't, that I push myself because I just don't want to disappoint people once I commit to being there. And I've had to do it a handful of times over the years. But there's a lot of times that I really shouldn't have gone on stage, that my voice was gone. We all do it, call the doctor, get the shot, do the thing, and you go on and you do what you got to do. Part of it, man.
Yeah, I remember, we were out in L.A., this was years ago, and I had the flu, and I'm like, you ought to just be in bed, but you can't tell people, you can't disappoint people. And
can't hear nothing, can't breathe.
No.
It's awful.
Can't sing worth a flip. Can't.
You can't. It's just awful, and it's awful. It's like, I don't want to be here. But you got the old saying of the show must go on. Unlike Eric Church, who canceled his show to go to a basketball game, which I think was absolutely ridiculous. Personally, I think it's one of the most selfish things I've ever seen, and it hurt him.
I've been asked about that on the radio a number of times. Well, when it happened, and I said, look, the man can do whatever he chooses to do, but to me, it's completely unprofessional. It's completely unacceptable. It wasn't how I was raised, and it ain't how I'm raising my kids. If I tell you I'm gonna be here and do something, I'm gonna be there and do it. And the way I explained it was that same particular weekend, or night, or whatever that game was or that show was supposed to be, I had to miss 2 of my daughter's softball games, which I coach, which wouldn't have mattered if I coached them or I didn't. He didn't want to be at that game any more than I wanted to be at my 8 and 10-year-olds games, I promise you. But I went to my show. I mean, I went to,
because you made a commitment.
Made
you
a
got
commitment.
People depending on you. Got people and families depending on, not only with your own people that you pay on your payroll, but all those people that took off work or saved their money buying that ticket, or had to get the hotel rooms, and plan on making that an event for the weekend, whatever it was. I think you.
Yeah, I was shocked by that. I mean, again, really it's his career. He can do whatever he wants. He's had a lot more success than I've had. Whatever. I was like, wow, that's peculiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like
what basketball team does he follow? Because it must have been a team where he grew up, or an alma mater.
North Carolina.
So it was but they've been to the dance before.
They were playing Duke, and they've never played in the Final Four or something like that. Was the reasoning?
It was on TV.
That's what.
Well, the other thing
I go back to Dewey Cox.
North Carolina's been in the Final Four 1,000 times.
Yeah,
it's not like it's the first time ever.
It's like Dewey Cox.
It's totally his call. He made it. Whatever.
You gonna miss some? I've missed some birthdays. Hell, I've missed some births.
Speaking of Dewey Cox and John C. Reilly, have you all watched Winning? The
Winning Time.
Oh my gosh!
I'm so wrapped up in it right now. I just watched episode 8 last night. I'm freaking caught.
It is awesome, man.
It's awesome.
We're on like 4 or 5, but we're hooked.
It's so freaking good. I'm loving it. It gives you such and of course, some of it's made for TV, but I still think the storyline has been great, and he kills me. He's just he is such a versatile actor. He really amazes me how good he really is.
I told my wife we were watching that, and I was like, you got to look up, because she don't know who Jerry Buss is. I said, look up Jerry Buss. And then Google John C. Reilly playing Jerry Buss. It's uncanny.
He got his mannerism. His mannerisms
Crazy.
down. I mean, he studied him.
Yep.
It's been pretty fascinating, man.
We mentioned
I have a hard
anyway.
time finding shows like that I really gravitate to. I really got into Yellowstone, and so this is one that I've enjoyed watching. It's been really cool.
Check out. We've been watching too. The Righteous Gemstones. Have you watched it?
Is that on Netflix?
No, it's on HBO. It's freaking amazing,
the Righteous
man.
Gemstones.
JR can probably explain it better than me.
It's kind of like that though, but it's Kenny Powers. It's Danny McBride. But look, Tracy, look,
and John Goodman.
And John Goodman. Like Kenny Powers is the son of this mega church evangelistic preacher, which is John
like
Goodman.
Joel Osteen kind of deal.
God.
And his late mother is Jennifer Nettles is his late mother, but she's passed at the present time. They go back in time, and she's the mom of this. It is ridiculous. It's Kenny Powers, but of making fun of these would be
you got to check it out.
Religious types that are
knowing
hoodooers.
you would dig this. It's we kind of went back
funny.
and forth because it's basic. It's more or less it's calling out the absurdities of these.
Some of these people
businesses basically
satire of it at least.
So it hadn't been but a few months ago. So we've got one of those churches here in the area that I live in, and I've never been to it, but I know where it was because they were drawing such large crowds. They'd put this giant tent up in the back of the property outside. Well, they decided that they were going to have a CD book burning, so they burnt all the Harry Potter books and all the music that they felt was offensive. And this preacher got on the thing and had this big rant. Thousands of people came in from several states away, and they had this big burning that was going on over the weekend. Come to find out, he had been embezzling money from the church and had divorced his wife and run off with his assistant and all this crazy stuff that's going on. Oh yeah, just made for TV stuff. I'm like, right here at the house now, just right here.
Yeah,
that's real life.
I didn't realize Harry Potter was offensive.
But it's all black magic. It's all magic.
Yeah.
That's what his whole issue was. So there were people bringing the books and the movies and everything. They had this massive bonfire, just burning shit, just burning it all. Yeah.
Wow.
I wanted to go sit up across the street and just park there and get me a 6-pack of beer and just watch the show.
Just watch it ensue.
Just watch it unfold and see what goes on. Yeah,
that's good
stuff.
Buddy,
stuff in the world, man.
I mean, we could do this all day, but I know you got to go. You got to talk about your mural.
Yeah, I got to go call
Charlie
him right
Daniels.
now. I think that's going to be pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really, really neat. Really
Absolutely.
cool.
I got a couple things I want to wrap up with. One, I had this on my desk is the JMTL Late Nights and Long Necks All Access Pass there with a young Lainey Wilson down there on the bottom. Y'all might have heard of her.
She's a big star now.
Oh yeah, rocking.
Oh yeah, yes.
Hell, we took her on tour. Justin gave her guitar. Then she forgot about us. So Lainey, if you're still listening, we still love you, sugar. We appreciate you. Come back on tour with us anytime. Anyway, hey, I got a couple things, and I thought this, and I didn't know this until now, but I was just going through some stuff and saw, who passed today in 2013 was one hero, the King George Jones. He passed away today, April 26th. 13.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I didn't realize it was today. Wow.
Yep, it was today at 81.
I thought he was 83. Well, my target date's still 83. I'm gonna make it past that.
There you go.
It said he had over 150 hits during his career, both as solo and duet artist. So I mean that's probably stuff that just charted. It's probably more like 300. They said in this thing that they were talking about when he was first in town. It was because Tracy, on this documentary, they'll go through and have somebody like Billy Sherrill and do a whole 2 hours on just Billy Sherrill and his relationship with Jones. But it was talking about how it was hard for people weren't giving Jones songs once he first got rocking, because everybody, if anybody gave them Jones the song, they say once George sang it, it stayed sung. And after that nobody would want to cut it. So a lot of people didn't want to give him songs early on because they said once he sings it, hell, what am I going to do,
Well, they didn't have any crustaceans back there, did they?
right, or whoever else is the flavor of the week
back in
nowadays.
the day, do you remember that somebody cut a song and then Merle might cut it? And Willie might
all
cut
of
it?
them.
I mean, everybody cut them all.
A month.
George George could sing them though.
Oh yeah,
he could sing
a
them.
month or so apart. Yeah, they would come out. An album would come out, an album cut on somebody. A month later, they go in and cut it and rush release it, and it come out and be a #1 for somebody else the next month, and it died at 45 for the one before. This you're going to love this podcast series on Jones. You're going to love
send me
that.
the link.
I will.
Yeah.
I will. But that was 2013 on this day, April 26th. And I don't know if we did this the last time you were here, TL, but we do the birthday song of the
#1 song.
on your birthday. It's the birthday #1. So
hell, he probably knows his.
So
He's
we did.
I think do you know that I think Jerry Buss was born on my birthday on the 27th of January? I think I saw that when I looked him up. I believe his birthday and mine were exactly the same. I think so. I think I looked that up.
I'm gonna look that up real quick.
Look it up because I think so. I think I remember seeing that when I looked it up.
So
January 27th.
Yep. 1933.
Yep.
Y'all a few years apart.
Just a few years apart.
Just a
Same
few.
day. Yeah.
Same day.
Yeah. But I'm 9/11/79, and mine was I May Never Go to Heaven, Conway Twitty. Justin's 3/30/84, and his is Roll On 18-Wheeler by Alabama. Does anybody want to take a stab at what the #1 song in the country was? January 27, 68, and it's we've talked about him on here. He's one of our heroes, no doubt. And it is if there was a more classic country song, I don't know of one.
Wow.
Charlie
I had
Pride?
no idea.
No.
Well, that would have been a little early for him.
68,
maybe
king of the late. I mean, he was pretty much the king of the late 60s.
Ray.
California guy. That gives it most away.
Buck?
No.
Buck on
Merle.
The Merle.
Was it which one?
Sing Me
Mama
Back
Tried.
Home.
No kidding.
Yes.
Oh,
The
my-
day
Sing Me
you were
Back
born,
Home?
Tracy. Sing Me Back Home. The day you were born, Tracy, the #1 song in the country was Hags. Sing Me Back Home.
Wow.
That's what
That
was probably
might be
playing
my
on the
favorite
radio when you
Hags
came
song.
out.
Heard me lose.
Yeah, that was it.
If I would have been born a girl, my mama was going to name me Loretta Lynn Lawrence. That would have been my name.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Hey,
Yeah.
talking about
Thank God I
a
wasn't a girl.
yeah. It would probably been some big old hits. You might have been doing some duets with the whoever ended up being the guy like Tracy Lawrence. You know, that's funny talking about the mannerism stuff. You know, Sissy Spacek played Loretta Lynn in Coal Miner's Daughter, which is a classic country movie that's been one of the legends. You know how she got her mannerisms down. You know the Spence Manor, the old hotel there in Nashville that was the original 4-star hotel. It's condos now.
Guitar-shaped swimming pool.
Guitar-shaped swimming pool. Yes, that was the Spence Manor. The original 4-star hotel in Nashville. Before that, it was motor lodges and stuff. They built that basically for Elvis and those guys to come in and record at Studio A in the early 70s, and Waylon and them stayed there. And, I mean, there's tons of stories that came out of that because it had a restaurant, but you couldn't go in it, but you could order food to the room. So, and some of the parties and stories I've heard about that going on.
Yeah.
But so when Sissy Spacek was getting ready to play Loretta Lynn in the movie, they stayed there for a month at the Spence Manor in a room, one of the rooms there, the hotel at the time. They stayed there for a month and hung out and went to eat and played songs and talked, and that's how she learned to get her mannerisms down. They lived together for a month at the hotel down there in Nashville.
Wow. That's very cool.
Yep. I stayed there randomly at a.
He just recently stayed there.
Yeah, a couple years ago on an Airbnb, I stayed there, and I started doing some research, and yeah, it is fascinating.
My original manager, Wayne Edwards, he was working promotions when he became my manager. He was doing independent promotion. He had an office there. I think it was on the second floor there in that building. So I spent a lot of time there. I think John Snyder's even got a place there when he stays in Nashville. I think that's where his apartment is. That's where he stays.
It's awesome. Yeah. And you go in and it smells like baking bread because on one of the old kitchen is the guy who bakes a lot.
Like when I was
right. I think like in the late 90s or something, when they closed the kitchen, somebody in town rents the kitchen out, but they make like these artesian breads that go all over all the nice hotels and restaurants and stuff. So now when you go in there, it is just this incredible, but not much has changed. It's still old, and I mean it's
still very, like the plush carpet, lots of red and stuff all over the place.
Yeah, the pendulum, the old fixtures, and yeah, you could feel like you're going back in time, but pretty cool. But yeah, that was a story from
wild.
there. Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway,
awesome.
Sing Me Back Home. By God, Tracy Lawrence.
That might be my favorite Merle song ever.
That's really awesome. That's very appropriate. That's really good. That's good to know.
It is.
Well, guys, it's always a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for letting me jump on here with you. And I hope the tour goes great for you this year. And I look forward to seeing y'all at wherever. Let me know if you want to come to El Dorado. and let's stay in touch, my friends.
Yeah, thank you, buddy, as always, and same to you. Hopefully you guys have a great year, and hopefully we'll get to do something together this year. And I'll holler at you in the coming days, and we'll talk about El Dorado and then some the Boys and Girls Club stuff.
Sounds like a plan, guys. God bless you, my friends. Y'all
all right, buddy.
Y'all
Much
go check
love,
Tracy
brother.
out at TracyLawrence.com, and on the Instagram and all that fun stuff's The Real Tracy Lawrence at The Real Tracy Lawrence, and TracyLawrence.com. You can find all his tour dates, all the new music links, all the merch, all that fun stuff. Thank you, Brother Tracy. We'll see you down the road, brother.
Thank you, guys. God bless. Peace out.
See you, buddy. Tell Opie, hey.
I'll do it. See you.
Today's episode is sponsored by Bobcat. If you're like me, you don't like to sit still for very long. You look out the window and see possibilities. What if I planted a row of trees over there? It'd be nice to clear that trail in those woods. That's why Bobcat equipment is so great. Its compact size, powerful performance, and big-time versatility will keep up with all your ideas for your property. With a few attachments or implements and a Bobcat tractor, for example, you can do big things in small amounts of time. It's perfect for me when I have a break from touring or recording. Take a look at tractors, utility vehicles, mowers, and more at bobcat.com, or pay a visit to your local dealer. Hey, what's up, guys? Justin Moore here. I want to remind everyone out there listening that my wife Kate has an awesome children's clothing boutique in downtown Benton, Arkansas. It's Central Arkansas. So if you're local, come see us at 119 West South Street in downtown historic Benton, Arkansas. Again, that's 119 West South Street in Benton, Arkansas. And if you're not local, we ship everywhere. So you can find us at shopthislittlepiggy.com and see all that we have to offer. All that my wife Kate has to offer, I should say. Facebook, you can find us at Shop This Little Piggy AR. And Instagram, you can find us at Shop This Little Piggy AR. But check us out. It's called This Little Piggy. And see what we got to offer. ShopThisLittlePiggy.com.
Hi, y'all. This is Brandon Bing, singer-songwriter and whiskey maker. You're tuning into the Justin Moore Podcast. Visit EasyLiquor.com to grab your bottle of Bangtail Whiskey and join the Blue Collar Swaller family today. Follow us on all socials at Bangtail Whiskey for more news and updates. Now pour Jigger and take this a second ride with us.
Hey, gang. As y'all have heard, the Justin Moore Podcast has recently teamed up with Wrangler. Wrangler has been an icon in authentic American style around the world for more than 70 years. With a rich legacy rooted in the American West, Wrangler commits to offering unmatched quality and timeless design. As y'all have heard me and Justin talk about on here, George Strait and Alan Jackson, they're Wranglers. We wear Wranglers too. Its collections are also for men and women, children, to look and feel great, inspiring those who wear them to be strong and ready for life every day. Wrangler is available in retail stores worldwide, including brand flagship stores in Denver and Dallas, department stores, mass market retailers, specialty shops, Western outfitters, and online. For more information, visit Wrangler.com. And you know you've heard it here, and you've seen it on stage, the Justin Moore Podcast. Dang glad to be partnered up with Wrangler because we're big fans and have been for a long, long time. Can't go wrong with a nice pair of Wranglers, y'all. I wear the Wrangler Retro. Justin wears the black one some. It's my go-to. I get mine at Academy. So if you're around an Academy or just about anywhere, you can get you a pair of Wranglers, whether you want to look like George Strait, or you want to look like JM, or you want to look like me. You can get you some Wranglers, and you can do that. Whether you're in North California or South Alabama or Montana, Texas, Ohio, Wyoming, wherever, a pair of Wranglers will get the job done. Long live cowboys and plowboys. For more information, visit Wrangler.com. Well, there he was. I mean, how cool. He's got stories. That was just
that's why I wanted to give him a chance to tell just a couple more. I mean, we've been fortunate enough to. So everybody, just so you realize, I think people do, but in case they don't, everybody listening to this or watching this, we're just as big of fans of him as y'all are.
Like, it's 100%.
So like we're talking to him, and we are friends now, and we've had opportunities to, sit on either my bus or his bus and get drunk together and hear all these stories. And so it's still surreal for you and I, is my point, even.
Yep.
And so, but he's got, to your point, I mean, he's got 1,000 more stories. I mean, I wish we could tell some of the
Oh my
the
gosh.
really good ones on here.
I told him I'd wait till we're either super old or he's on brink of death before I release any of those in the book. It will be in the book, ladies and gentlemen. Go to jrthehandler.com, sign up there. You'll know when the book comes out 30 years from now.
But man, it's what an honor and a pleasure to have gotten to know him as well as you and I have over the last 3-4 years, whatever it's been. And he and I had met before. I think the first time he and I met was we were sitting next to each. So at award shows, you basically have assigned seating, and I think they sat us next to each other at an award show years ago. And then I don't know, when he did the duet album, I forget what it's called. It's terrible that I don't know that. It was him with current artists singing his old songs, and I got to do alibis with him.
Right, that's right.
Which nothing. That was probably, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, maybe something like that. And so I go in the studio, and he and I had met, but we really didn't know each other like we certainly do now. And there's not a whole lot more nerve-wracking than you just walk into a vocal booth and he's at the board and you're singing a classic Tracy Lawrence song in front of Tracy Lawrence.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going, well, okay, here goes nothing. I mean, and from that point forward, we became closer and closer, and then obviously we did tour together over the last few years, and have become really great friends, and it's really, really neat. So glad he was able to jump on with us, and it sounded like he just wanted to BS, man. I don't know if he was really pushing anything. So
No, just want to chop it up. Let y'all know TL's still rocking, baby. Look him up.
It sounds like they have a great year in store, man.
Oh,
They're going out with Aldean, with Paisley, he said another one or two.
Morgan and
Hardy and Morgan, and that's awesome, man. I mentioned it to him, but the resurgence of new country, man, or 90s country becoming popular again with a younger generation is really cool.
Right.
So,
No doubt. Well, talking about younger generation and shows and all that fun stuff, we had we kicked off our tour last week. We got to go play in Pensacola, Florida, on the Country On It tour. We had our old buddy Granger Smith and his alter ego Earl Dibbles Jr. and their rocking band play a show with us. And we had the Reeves brothers. If any of y'all aren't familiar with the Reeves brothers, y'all look them up. They opened the show for us, and they were the real deal. Big things I think are ahead for these guys. So y'all made sure to check them out. But yeah, we started the tour in Pensacola, and had a great time. I thought it was a real good time, don't you, Jess?
Yeah, it was a great crowd, and we avoided disaster, so we put a new show together, and we do that every couple of years. And I don't know, for a couple of weeks maybe worth of shows, myself and the band are a little, I guess, anxious and nervous to a degree, and just trying to make sure we get everything right. We're doing some new music off the upcoming album, but we're also doing a lot of older songs that we've not done in years and years and years. And so I don't necessarily remember all the lyrics. That's a concern. When do I talk to you guys in the audience? What guitar part am I supposed to play here? Just there's so many different factors. And once you get it kind of seared in your brain, you got it. It's muscle memory. So once you've played a show for a couple of years, you don't think about it. Which is what we had in the old show. Whereas, when you start a new show and you've not done it ever, or if you've only done it a handful of times, you're still kind of thinking. It's like when you go to college and play ball, they talk about, the more you get educated on the system. You don't think, you just play faster.
Right.
You know, instead of being out there thinking,
it's just
you're
muscle
just
memory.
doing. Yeah, and so that's kind of the way it is for us. But all that being said, I didn't think it could have gone much better than it did. We're still tweaking some stuff, which the next night in Port Charlotte, I moved some things around, and so we'll be tweaking it for the next couple of weeks.
Remember Tracy saying that about one time you asked him something about sound checks? Yeah, I got to tweak a few things. You got to tweak a few things.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
and so I would say by this time next month when you come see us, we should have it dialed in pretty good, even before then. But it was great, man. It was 2 really good shows. In Florida, got some sunshine. It's beautiful today. Here
it just
in
rained
Arkansas,
here while we were talking,
but
it just came a downpour.
It's been nasty, man, for the last for a couple of days before I left to go to Florida, and then once I came home a day or two, it's nasty. So it's nice to see some sunshine, for sure.
Yeah, it just popped out here. While we were talking, I heard, so I thought it was a fan quitting on me. I look out, and it was pouring here while we were talking to Tracy.
Wow.
Good thing my new cable's holding up with the internet. But yeah, talking about Rays of Sunshine, I got to see my goddaughter Emily came to the show, her first big concert, to come see us in Pensacola.
Yeah.
Yep, got to see you play, and you got to talk to her after the show. I appreciate that. That was really cool. And my best buddy Grice and his wife, and my buddy Mike Diamond and his wife, and my little brother Pate and his wife and brother who just got back from Afghanistan and his wife. So it was really cool. I was kind of a little bit of homecoming for me. And, those hometown shows can sometimes be a daunting task when you got a lot of people coming. So it was cool. We had a smaller crowd there for me. A lot of that was due to the Floribama had mullet toss the same weekend we were doing this. And it was Talladega, which I didn't even think about until
I didn't think
Saturday,
about that either. Yeah.
that it was Daga weekend because I haven't been in a while. I got a bunch of pictures of people out by bonfires listening to some JM before the race night before the race,
Nice.
So, but everybody was at the Floribama. Got my pass for that. I got to stop in. I book in the Floribama. I got to go Thursday. Dylan Carmichael did a thing with KSJ for St. Jude. There, got to see all those guys. Shout out Ben Ratliff, CJ, Dylan, all his bunch. And then we went and did the shows. And then I stopped back by through Sunday to make sure, check the damage, and they had done it. It was a big successful mullet toss, 30-something thousand people over the couple days, and big turnout, big good event for them. So I got to miss a lot of it. They had good weather and all that. And like you said, we got to go do the shows, got to see some family and friends in Pensacola, and then went down to Port Charlotte, and that ended up being really fun. Out down there, got to meet. I mean, I thought it was really pretty cool. We got to meet Derek St. Thomas. Band leader, guitar slinger, vocalist for Ted Nugent's band. He was hanging out. I remember it was funny. You guys, I said, man, the opening act sounded really good today. And you said, yeah, man, those guys that were rocking, man, they crushed Stranglehold. And turns out
there was a pond or two there, and some of the guys were out fishing, and you could hear them sound checking, and we were all talking as a band. We're going, man, that band sounds good. They sound tight, and man, that guy's a good singer. Well, come to find out, there you go.
It's the guy who sang on the album.
Yeah, it was the guy that actually sang the song. So no wonder it sounded good.
Yeah. And he couldn't have been cooler. So we ever do any more rock collabs.
Got to see your brother and your nephew,
yes,
which was good. I don't know that I had a chance to meet Aiden before. Maybe once.
Maybe not.
I don't know.
Maybe as a small baby.
It.
Years ago
it seemed like
played.
maybe I was around him at one point, but maybe not. But that was pretty neat to get to hang with them for a little while during the day.
Yeah, it was fun. And I actually
you mentioned Emily, so I just
yeah, and I got to see my brother and his little boy. I stayed an extra day and got to
my best friend.
Yeah, your best friend. I got to stay Sunday. I went swimming. Let me say, that joker is fearless in the swimming pool. I mean,
he?
Wore me out too, and would jump in without his vest, and I had to just get him up out of the water. If you
was
it
cold?
No, they had a heated pool.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it was nice. So we swam, but yeah, he is just. I mean, he just walked. He put his vest on, and he just walks right there, just jumps right in, and just jump in, and it was a smaller pool. It was really kind of like your setup in Destin. Kind of got the shallower end on one end, and it kind of gets deeper on one end. So and with some good set of stairs there for to get up and out and stuff. So, but it was, he was, I mean, for hours too. I mean, it didn't really want to quit when it was time to quit. We're like, it's going to be dark and you got to eat. And
did you have to throw him much?
Oh, you know it. Oh, you know.
Yeah,
it.
constant. That's your job. I've found out.
Yeah, he likes the flip. He wants you to flip him. He wants you to spin him. You know, Jamie's so cock strong too. Jamie will spin him around. I got longer arms, so I can get him up high, but Jamie will spin him like a top. He'll do like 3 or 4 rotations. And he just come out of the water, and he's just so happy. You know, he's just smiling.
That's
so
funny.
big. Yeah, so it was cool. We got to hang out and
yeah, he's cute, man,
and play with him some. It was really fun.
That's
and
some blonde hair.
Oh, yeah. Dropped him off at school, buddy. And at school, when he hits that door and sees his teacher coming to let him in, he don't look back. It's like, bye, buddy. Love you.
Gone. See you.
Play with my buddies.
That's awesome.
It was really cool. So, yeah, I want to give a shout-out on all those fronts. Shout out to everybody we got to run with this weekend. Like I said, the Reeves brothers were super cool. I know they may do a few more. They're going to do some more shows with us this year. And Granger, they have a great show put together, and they're always super cool to work with. So that was a fun little rundown.
Super pro.
Yeah.
Good to see them. Didn't have a chance to hang with them too much, but we got a lot more shows with those guys. So
right,
and I look forward to that.
I've got a bunch of fan stuff we're going to do, but I think we're going to just wait and hold on to do that next week, because I think if it works out in my mind, I think, well, I'll probably just be at your house and we'll just do it from the bar or at your office again.
There you go.
So
we're about 2 hours in as it sits.
Right. So yeah, we'll get. I know I've got a bunch of interesting, cool ones in, stuff about CDs and different things, and some other cool stuff I know I'd seen on here. Some stuff about sports, about some picks and some teams and a bunch of cool different stuff, and the videos from last week's. Want to say shout out to Craig Campbell. Thanks for coming on last week. He was great.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's funny. If y'all watch him on Instagram or Twitter, any of that kind of stuff last week or stuff, he just does some funny stuff, and he seems so just mild mannered, and he does these silly things. It's just, he's a hoot.
He was a lot of fun to have last week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. It was good to catch up with him, and of course, I don't know if they're maybe still a few days away from opening the Grindstone Cowboy, his coffee shop / music venue, but it was cool to kind of, I guess, get the background story on that. And, and if you're in that area or are traveling to Nashville, go check it out and say hey and tell him hey you saw it on the podcast.
Yeah, and I think he said it's opening this week, so y'all check that out. The Grindstone Cowboy. Yeah, it's down on the 840 loop if you're going from like Nashville to Murfreesboro, or if
you're probably talking maybe a half hour from Nashville.
Yeah, at
maybe.
most. If you're going to, if you're not coming from downtown, probably not even that. And like you said, passing through, that's a quick little stop off 40 there if you're going to Knoxville or east or west or going to Memphis from the East Coast. So yeah, I want to thank him for coming on. Had a great time chit-chatting with him, and thanks again to the legend Tracy Lawrence for coming on today and chopping it up with us. Like you said, for almost 2 hours now, and could have kept going, but we'll save it for another time because Tracy will be one of those
we
guys
could talk to him for all day, every day. I mean,
he'll probably be an every season guest.
Never get to the bottom of the well.
Right.
I mean, really.
He'll probably be an every season guest. So, but that's about it. So upcoming for us, we've got the golf tournament this weekend. Then next week on the May 5th, we will be in Knoxville, Tennessee. May 6th, Huntington, West Virginia. May 7th, Bensalem, Pennsylvania. A few days back home for Mother's Day. Shout out to all the mothers out there. We'll shout y'all out next week. Maybe we can drag Kate on next week too and get her to chop it up with us for the Mother's Day episode.
That'd be
good. And then the following week, May 12th, we'll be in Everett, Washington. The 13th, Kennewick, Washington. May 14th, Nampa, Idaho. May 19th, Park City, Kansas. May 20th, Ralston, Nebraska. May 21st, Mankato, Minnesota. And then Augusta, Georgia, May 27th, and then we're going down to Daytona on May 28th, and that'll get us by for this month. Y'all come to some shows. Let us know if you're in the area. Oh, and actually we booked a show in Pompano, Florida on the 29th. That's a Larry Richter show. Shout out Larry Richter, good buddy of ours. That's Memorial Day weekend, the 29th down in Pompano, Florida. So y'all make sure to go to justinmooremusic.com. You can find tickets, links to how to get tickets, seat maps, all that fun stuff. You can find all the links to all Justin's stuff on the website, links to this podcast, links to his merch, link to his music, all that fun stuff. You know, and if you haven't seen us before, you can watch us on YouTube. Not a lot to look for. Not a lot to look at on my end when it clips to me, but nonetheless, it is on YouTube. You can watch us each and every week and leave us some comments on there because I'm going to read those every week. I'll do 2 next week. And remember to like, rate, subscribe, hit the notification button, all that fun stuff anywhere you see or listen to the podcast. It all matters and goes a long ways. It's how we keep this thing going. And we're working on some stuff. I know a lot of people ask about meet and greets and stuff. We're going to talk about this week, and we'll have updates on that too. And may have some surprise stuff as far as social media stuff, maybe diving onto a new platform on social media with some content, bi-weekly or monthly content on there as well. So y'all stay up to date on all that. And like I said, everything will come from justinmooremusic.com. And we've talked about it. I know Justin's mentioned it at the shows, and we've mentioned it on here a few times. The new album's basically done. You got to do some tracking stuff on some musical sides, but so this year at some point, and you know, we like to drop exclusives here. Yeah, the exclusive will probably get dropped here, so y'all for that. But that'll be another something soon.
And we have a male duet, and then we have a female duet, and we're still working through who the female is going to be. And so once we get that vocal, all we have left is to mix and master everything. But I'm excited about it. I think it's really good stuff. I know you've heard a lot of it, and it's got your seal of approval, which is always good. So,
I
would guess, I don't know, late summer, maybe early fall. And that's just a guess. So don't hold me to that, but.
Yeah, good old country music, southern rock blend. I mean, just good tunes, some fast ones, some slow ones. Yeah, it's going to be a great record. I love I love all your records, but the last few that I've been involved with, all just really solid records. As usual, doesn't get enough press, but we're going to make sure to get all that wrapped around. As long as all the good country music fans out there come to shows and listen to country music still, that's all that matters, and we appreciate y'all. But, y'all go to justinmooremusic.com. You can check out all the tour dates. We'll be back on here next week. Like I said, probably together we'll do a duet. Don't think we'll have a guest unless Kate can jump on with us. We'll just do that. Then we've got some other guests lined up for later in the month, and we're going to be out on the road, so we might grab some buddies from the road and do some.
That'd be great.
Do some interviews and stuff like that. So y'all got to stay tuned. Like I said, you never know. There's a new social media something we're going to talk about, and a few other cool new things. And y'all pay attention to the website, and we'll have more updates on the meet and greets and all that fun stuff as the weeks go forward, because now it's tour season for us. Just like I said, I just named off all those dates, and those are all in the 1 month. We're about to go play as many shows this month as we have all year. So
yeah, and it's almost the 5th month. So
yeah, so here we go.
That's a mouthful. That's saying something. So yeah, but looking forward to getting back out there. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks to TL for coming on. And again, thanks to Craig Campbell last week. And then we'll try to get Kate on next week, and hell, maybe I could even talk my mom into coming on. I don't know. She's not a big fan. She's not a big fan of the limelight, so to speak. But we'll see if we can make that happen.
She could come on and instantly, in 3 or 4 words, debunk the whole JM's twang ain't real myth.
Yes,
right there.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll go ahead and debunk that.
Yeah, debunk that theory real quick. So
right. All right.
Thank you guys again, and we'll see y'all next week.
All right, guys. See y'all. Thank y'all. Tune in next week to the Justin Moore Podcast. Use the hashtag Justin Moore Podcast anywhere you interact on social media. JR the Handler, Justin Cole Moore. Thanks, y'all.
This episode was brought to you by Bobcat. Check them out at bobcat.com.
For any of you first-time listeners out there, at the end of each of our episodes, I like to do a little reading out of a book I've had that I've got a lot of use out of over the years. The book is by Mr. Charlie Daniels. And the book is called Let's All Make the Day Count, The Everyday Wisdom of Charlie Daniels. Number 45, Our Attitudes. Making the most of your time because the days are evil. Ephesians 5:16. Over the years, I have come to the conclusion that much of our outcomes of our lives are controlled by our own attitudes. The half-full or half-empty glass, the acceptance of responsibility for your own well-being, willingness to blame our problems on outside influences. I know, of course, things will happen that are beyond our control, but so much of our lives are within our own ability to affect. What we do with our God-given talent, how we face the problems we are confronted with, and how we choose to view each day is up to us. Is it just another 24-hour period? Or is it another opportunity, another chance to move forward? A reason to rejoice? Do we allow ourselves to start thinking that no matter what we do, no matter how hard we try, things will never get any better and we may as well save our efforts? Nothing could be further from the truth. Start out the day being thankful that our Creator has granted another day of our life. You are His unique creation, and He has something better for you. Then put aside all the negative thoughts you've been thinking and start looking for it. How we choose to perceive things, thinking for ourselves, making a conscious choice to look at all the sides of a situation before we judge it, trying to approach life with a positive attitude, having patience, and understanding can all make such an incredible difference. Positive or negative, it's your choice. Every breath is a blessing, every heartbeat a godsend, and every day an act of God's grace. Let's all make the day count.